What's up, everyone? It's Ian Somerhalder here. And
Paul Wesley.
so, listen, Twin Liquors, we love you all. And we know that you wanted a little bit more information about what we do and how we do it. So, we just wanted to give it to you. Now, it's a tremendous amount of information. So, we're just going to read it to make sure that we get everything right.
Because otherwise, we'll screw it up. We're just actors, okay?
We're just actors.
Give us the lines and we'll read the lines. Otherwise, we improv, it all goes downhill.
We have no idea what we're doing, and we don't make really great bourbon.
That's a lie. We make really good bourbon.
So listen, a little bit about the distillery where Brothers Bond is distilled and aged. So our distillery is in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, on the Ohio River in the tri-state area of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. It's one of the oldest distilleries in the U.S. Distilling first occurred here in 1809, and whiskey has been made there in the site ever since. Late 1800s and early 1900s, a large number of distilleries in Lawrenceburg resulted in being dubbed Whiskey City.
Little known fact, my nickname is Whiskey Wesley. All right, so about the grains, the ingredients of Brothers Bond bourbon. So we source our classic 4 grains. We're 4-grain whiskey, corn, rye, wheat, and barley, from a variety of farms. Now, we have a sensory evaluation of the grain, and that's the first key step in making great bourbon. And each delivery of grain is evaluated by a well-trained sensory panel to assure that the grain meets the distillery's high-quality standards.
Absolutely. So in prepping the ingredients, using a hammer mill, we prepare our grains by crushing to optimize the surface area and achieve a high-quality alcohol yield. The grains are crushed, turned into flour, and then added into cookers with water. Amazing water.
Water type is very important, with that said. One of the key reasons that Lawrenceburg, Indiana has been favorable for whiskey makers for over 200 years is because it sits atop a vast aquifer. Now, water from the aquifer is naturally filtered by limestone, making the water ideal for bourbon whiskey. The aquifer also provides a constant source of cold, which is 56 degrees Fahrenheit, water that is ideal for cooling.
Absolutely, brother. So the mash bill of our beloved bourbon. So what is a mash bill, right? It's the percentage of grains put together at the beginning to start the whiskey making process, right? So corn, rye, wheat, and barley are the main grains used for making our bourbon whiskey. To be considered a bourbon, the mash bill needs to have a minimum of 51% corn. So the remaining portions need to be from the other small grains. And our mash bill is about 65% corn, 22% rye, with wheat and barley making up the rest.
You mash the ingredients all together, right? So how do we do that? Well, we cook our grains with well water formed by a glacier. The well water runs through shale with interbedded limestone, and this limestone adds beneficial minerals like calcium, and it filters out impurities. The water, the enzymes, and the malted barley and the grains, they all work together to break down the starches into fermentable sugars. This mash is then cooled, and it's ready for the fermentation process.
Exactly. So fermenting, which is such an incredible process. The proprietary yeast strain is cultured in laboratories and then pitched into the cool mash. This starts the conversion of sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide, causing the mash to bubble. The yeast contributes to fruity and floral notes to the spirit. This process takes about 3 days and results in a mixture that we call distiller's beer, which actually smells exactly like beer.
Distiller's beer. So that enters the top of a copper column still, falling through perforated copper trays to the bottom where steam is added. The alcohol in the distiller's beer vaporizes and rises to the top of the still. Passing through a copper doubler and into a condenser, the vapor is cooled into a clear spirit called White Dog. Spent grain is a byproduct that is removed and dried for animal feed. The copper still and copper pot doubler eliminate the sulfur, the impurities. shape the flavors, and improve the spirit's taste profile.
So the aging process, which is happening to us by building this company
That's right. At a rapid pace, exponentially.
at a rapid pace, but it's
Yeah.
an amazing aging process. So
Yeah, we're happily aging.
exactly. So the aging process for Brothers Bond. The White Dog whiskey is then skillfully cut into 120 proof into virgin American white oak 53-gallon barrels, with the barrel staves at number 4 char and the barrel heads at number 2 char. Higher the char levels mean deeper penetration into the oak, which provide more oak flavors into the bourbon. The number 4 char is the classic char level and means the staves were on fire for 55 to 70 seconds. The number 4 char is known as the alligator char because the char wood resembles alligator skin. So if you look at, this is our stave, meaning the alligator skin right here. See that? So it's quite incredible. That's what we call the alligator skin. Our bourbon is aged a minimum of, the number 4 char is ideal for high rye mash bills, and it produces a less wooden flavor. The intense heat provides a more vanilla, toffee, and caramel note, as well as the spicy flavors that complement the rye. The bourbon is aged in a minimum of 4 years with a cask strength of around 57.8% alcohol by volume, which is about 115.6 proof. The cask strength means it is undiluted, no water has been added at all, which is strong, but our cask strength is unbelievable. The exit proof can range from 110 to 119 proof. But I will remind you, our spirit is really exceptional at cask strength.
Yeah, can't wait to share that with you guys.
Yeah,
So the
you're gonna
barrels, barrels are virgin American white oak. Barrels are predominantly manufactured by independent stave company and Speyside cooperage. The barrels are not rotated. They are stored in racks and or palletized, which is 6 rows high. And the rack barrels are stored horizontally, and palletized barrels are stored vertically. When barrels are placed vertically on pallets, they're easier to store and retrieve. There's also plenty of room for air circulation around the barrels, which is beneficial to the aging process and getting our bourbon to its ideal flavor profile.
You know what, Paul? This is the ideal flavor profile, brother.
You're also the ideal flavor
You're the
profile.
ideal flavor profile.
Shall we?
Yeah, we should.
Sorry.
Cheers.
Sorry to make you guys jealous.
Cheers, Twin Liquors.
We couldn't help ourselves. Had it a million times, and yet every time I have it, I think about how good
It's
it is.
unbelievable.
All right.
Listen, so the blending and bottling. Now, as much as I'd like to put Paul in a blender and just bottle him, I can't. It's not legal. And I would lose my partner.
True.
So what we do for Brothers Bond is we have blended and tasted many, many, many batches of this. I mean, 14 months of this, blending morning, noon, and night. This is what this guy and I did. And we were never really sick of each other. We were just looking for this perfect, incredible taste profile. We didn't stop until we crafted a bourbon that has a taste profile that is smooth, complex, and in perfect balance, meaning all those grains are expressed over your palate, but in total harmony. So our production batches are small, approximately about 135 barrels at a time. We take our recipe of 3 different mash bills and blend to make our 4-grain bourbon whiskey. So we take 3 grains to create a 4-grain, right? Our bourbon is chill filtered at 32 degrees only once. This improves the clarity and of the liquid and keeps all flavors and color intact. We have a 4 gold standard quality checks throughout the blending process, right? Blending actually and bottling process to make sure that every single bottle is held up to our original batch standard. The final bottling is at 80 proof or 40% alcohol by volume.
All right. So shall we talk about our bourbon a little bit?
Absolutely. There's nothing I'd rather talk about other than our bourbon.
So the bourbon, we should all I mean, all. You guys can't, but we will. Well, you can. We should just taste it and talk about our tasting notes, and we should talk about our grains. And now, look, I should just say that, our bourbon, yeah, I mean, smells almost identical to banana bread, which is pretty amazing.
Baked banana bread.
Baked banana bread.
So good.
It's elegant, it's smooth, it's complex, and as Ian said, it's in perfect balance. The grain flavors have been optimized across the palate, achieving what people call an equal sensory proportion, and that's what makes Brothers Bond so good. So let's talk about the color. The color is it's a sunset gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look,
Literally.
yeah, you can see this beautiful sunset gold. The body. We'll talk about the body a little bit. Smoldy, balanced, round, velvety, smooth. The taste.
It's like a toasted cereal.
Mm-hmm. We have all these, beautiful things here. It's,
toasted
walnuts and dried figs and apricots and honey and citrus and banana bread, and these are all part of the flavor.
Velvety, profile. Sort of like it's complex. It's orange peel. It's like nutty. It's warm spice. So the taste, if you taste this sort of like toasted grain, cereal, honeysuckle, dried fig. Almost like black tea and spice. That's what you get out of this.
Yeah.
The finish, when you get this finish, especially when you're drinking it like this, fresh cut oak. If you imagine that, you taste that? Literally fresh cut oak on your tongue.
Never had fresh cut oak.
But you had the smell. You know that smell.
Well, yeah.
It literally stops on your palate.
Yeah.
And the aftertaste is like, after a while, you get this little bit of a sweet kick down the back end. You get an aftertaste of about a minute and a half, like a minute and 30 seconds. And then eventually it becomes this sweet, almost like, I don't know, like almost like a sweet beeswax in a way. It's like, mm-hmm. and then the smell too, in the bottom of your glass, even when it's done, it's like almost like a sweet beeswax. So it's like, I mean, you can see that we geek out on this, and this is what we do. So it's pretty special. We love this. This is our flavor profile. This is our blending process. This is our charring process, our bottling process, how our barrels are treated, what they do. And for us, when we get to share this with you as amazing partners, as Paul is not an amazing partner, he's more of a family member. So we want to kill each other a lot, but we know bourbon and we love bourbon. But much like Twin Liquors, you're family and you love what you do. So for Paul and I,
yeah. Well, I was going to say, we we're at the end of this, but I just wanted to say, we created Brothers Bond as a sign of our brotherhood, but ultimately we created this bourbon to bring people together. Yeah. And for people to enjoy it with one another and to, enjoy everything it has to offer, whether you're tasting it together or you're having it in a cocktail, whatever it is, it should be done in good company and you should be bonding with whomever you're drinking it with. So we hope that you do that when you drink.
Absolutely. And honestly, we look at this, Paul and I, when we put this together, we look at these flavor profiles and we look at like the simplicity and beauty of life in these flavors. And we hope that you can piece them together and it gives you something to not only talk about, but to do and enjoy, because we experience and appreciate this like we can't even imagine. So we share this with you, our friends, our family, our partners, Twin Liquors. We salute you. We thank you. Margaret, thank you.
Cheers.